Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rogue Media. My name is Schlerf, and today we have an emergency episode of the Rogue Media channel, podcast, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, I usually don't post videos till the weekend, but I did promise last week that if there was any breaking news within the Friday that I posted the weapons review, or the Saturday I posted the weapons review, to this Friday, or whenever I make the next video, I was going to post. And here we are right now because we've had some crazy, crazy Spider-Man news throughout the day. Today, I'm going to get into that 1 second. Quick disclaimer again. Same thing as the weapons episode. My microphone is not working right now for some reason. I'm probably going to buy a new one after this episode is over. This thing is just not plugged in, wasn't working, said it was muted, whatever. Quality might be a little bit worse. That is why. But anyway, push past that. We had two incredible, one big rumor today for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then one official casting for the movie. And the rumor is basically official casting too, but I will give all the context for all that right now. So to start off, obviously for Spider-Man Brand New Day, it is filming right now. It is coming out July 31st, 2026. It is the fourth film in the Tom Holland Spider-Man era, I guess. And it is, yeah, Spider-Man Brand New Day, directed by Dustin Daniel Cretton. And the cast that we know so far that are official are I'm going to try to say this off the top of my head. Tom Holland, Sadie Sink, Michael Mando, Mark Ruffalo, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon. I think that is it right now. I'm gonna go ahead real quick and just look it up while I'm doing this because I know that it's just all the rumors have been crazy. Yes, so that before today was the rumored cast for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And not rumored, those are all were official castings. They're announced by Marvel themselves or by the reliable sources like Deadline and Variety or Hollywood Reporter. However, today, we are believed to have two new additions to the cast, and around 3 hours before I was recording this, it was rumored by Daniel RPK, who is a scooper, a Marvel scooper slash leaker. However, he is very reliable, and about 99% of the time that he posts something like this publicly, it ends up happening. It ends up being true. And even for this movie in Spider-Man Brand New Day, we've seen him. He said Michael Mando would be back as Scorpion a long time ago. He has said things about this film that have turned out to be true. So about around 4 p.m. my time, he tweeted that Florence Pugh would be reprising her role as Yelena Belova in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Obviously, not a complete bombshell of a casting, something that nobody expected, even with this movie tying into Avengers Doomsday and her being one of the main characters as Doomsday. Completely unexpected. That was the first rumor. And then later on in the day, I kind of thought that at around 5 or 6 p.m., the trade, which is Deadline Hollywood Reporter, would confirm the Florence Pugh thing because I don't expect it. I'll get into what I think about it later on, but I expected they would confirm that. However, we ended up getting a whole new casting for Brand New Day that is unrelated to the Florence Pugh Yelena Belova thing, which is Tramell Tillman, known for Severance and Mission Impossible recently this year, will be joining the cast of Brand New Day in an undisclosed role. And just to restate what I said earlier, the Florence Pugh thing is solely a rumor, but it does come from a very reliable source. And the Tramell Tillman thing is official. It is coming from an incredibly reliable source. These sources, these trades that we call them, Marvel will feed them a casting when they want someone to announce it that's not themselves. Like that is official. Tillman will be in Brand New Day. Now, I'm going to talk about both of these because they're not really connected, so I'll talk about these separately. I will start with the Florence Pugh thing because if this is true, and I'm going to operate under the assumption that it is true, because again, Daniel RPK is a very reliable source. This is just really, really exciting, and I know it's confusing, and it's another character in this film, which already feels bloated, loaded with characters, and it's not a Spider-Man character. It's not a character that we'd expect to be in this plot, but like, it's one of those things where like the reason that Marvel can be so good and the reason we love the MCU and the reason we should love the MCU is stuff like this, where we have characters that we don't expect to cross over into other projects doing exactly that and crossing over with characters that we didn't expect. Like Spider-Man and Yelena Belova, like those are by far top 5, 10 most beloved characters for Marvel fans. And for me, like probably both my top five. Seeing Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova in on our screens in less than a year, like I know we were expected to see them in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but like to see them maybe not only in those two, but also this movie as well, like three movies together, like that is amazing. Like I don't know, like I know people. I haven't really seen the reaction to this online, but I know that people that are kind of Spider-Man fans specifically, and maybe not big Marvel fans, will probably have a problem with this because it's another non-Spider-Man character in this movie. But like It's fun. I mean, it's gonna be so much fun to see Florence Pugh and Tom Holland be acting in the same screen. Like, again, we don't know the severity of the role, and that is important to say. We don't know how big the role was gonna be because it would be expected generally that if hearing Florence Pugh is going to be in this movie, that it would be like a cameo, like a post-credit scene that would tie into Doomsday, like a appearance early in the movie and that doesn't show up again at all, and kind of just like it's teasing Doomsday as well. Like something like that would be expected. However, it should be said that when something leaks this early in production, like this movie just started filming a couple weeks ago, when especially Daniel RPK, because I follow the Super Games, so I know this kind of stuff and what this kind of stuff means. When he's reporting this publicly and within the first few weeks of filming, I don't see why he'd reveal this if it was just a cameo. Like this would be something that would be saved for later on in production, whether a set leak came out or he reported it on his Patreon, like or whether some of the other reliable scoopers like Alex Perez or My Time to Shine like posted it. This is something where like I do have a really big feeling this is a supporting role in the same vein as like Punisher and Hulk in this movie. I maybe even say these things character we don't know yet. Um, I know that's me, that's my personal opinion, that's me reaching a little bit, but I find it hard to believe based on the reporting timeline of this that she is just a cameo. Because I think if she was a cameo, it would be similar to like Bucky Barnes, where like he was rumored to cameo in this movie like probably 5 months before A Brave New World came out, and then it happened, and it wasn't like this huge leak in the production process. One person just said it and eventually came true. Watched the movie, and most people didn't know he was going to be in it until we saw him in the movie. I think if this were the case for this movie, Marvel would keep it very much under wraps and nobody would know about it until at least close to the movie comes out. The fact that Daniel is reporting on this now, again, we are like barely under a year left till this movie comes out, July 31st, 2026, and they're already leaking and releasing this. I have a feeling this is more than a cameo, and this is a supporting role in the movie alongside Spider-Man, Punisher, Hulk, and now Yelena. And that was another thing, is Daniel earlier in the day when he was teasing this casting news, he said that he literally tweeted Spider-Man, Hulk, Punisher plus question mark, and that is obviously filled in as Yelena now. So it's hard to say, and we won't be able to say anything for sure until an official outline confirms this, which I think is possible later in the week. I thought it might be today, but it's possible for, Thursday or Friday. And Friday is usually a big news drop thing for the outlets, but I think that my theory within this all, and it's hard to make a concrete theory because we still, although we vaguely know things about this movie, we still don't know a lot about this Brand New Day movie and kind of what the plot's going to be. We can kind of maybe put things together, but we don't totally know. So it's hard to really say what Elena could really come into this movie and kind of how she would fit in. But obviously, what we do know for sure is that after Thunderbolts, and most of Thunderbolts took place in New York. At this point in her kind of Marvel timeline, Yelena is set in New York because she's part of the New Avengers, and their headquarters is at Avengers Tower in New York, and she is a New York-based hero right now. She's not based, but she is a New York hero right now. We saw her there in Hawkeye, now in Thunderbolts, and now post Thunderbolts with the New Avengers post-credit scene, which was 14 months after Thunderbolts took place. And I'm not spoiling anything. Thunderbolts is on digital now. If you haven't seen it, it's your fault. But she is one of these street level heroes that is roaming around New York right now. So it is a natural conclusion that if a conflict is going on in New York, that she might step in and the New Avengers might sense maybe this takes place even before the Thunderbolts post credit scene, and the New Avengers might just sense a threat that is going on within the streets. Elaine is bored, says, "Hey, I'm gonna hop in here and help with this conflict," and it turns out maybe she's connected to it more than she thought she was. I think that's a big possibility. If it is a cameo, I would see it as something like towards the end of the film, they're recruiting Spider-Man for the New Avengers, or if it's a post-credit scene, it's kind of just like everything kind of comes to a head and they see an incursion over New York and they happen to look. If it's a cameo, that makes sense. But again, I find it's very hard to believe that this is just like a cameo a la Brie Larson and Mark Ruffalo in Shang-Chi. Like, I don't think it's something like that. It could be that, but yeah, it'd be really interesting to see Lena try to recruit Spider-Man. Like, just the potential of those two characters interacting and Florence Pugh and Tom Holland being scene partners is just like so, so, so exciting. And again, this isn't confirmed by any means, but I'm going to act like it is because, again, this is a very reliable source. So that prospect of those two crossing over is so exciting. And I think that it leaves open a lot of possibilities for what characters could not only appear, what references there could be, what it could set up for Avengers Doomsday. I mean, you know, if Yelena is in the movie, does that mean that we're going to get some of the other Thunderbolts? Like, could Bucky be in this movie? Could Ghost be in this movie? Is it something where Ava kind of just, or sorry, is it something where Yelena just goes in like a side quest away from the new Avengers? Like, I don't know. There's so many possibilities here, and that is exciting to theorize about because again, it is frustrating that we don't know a lot about this movie yet, but Marvel doesn't owe us to that. Like, it is for us to theorize and come up with things until that first trailer drops and we maybe see our first look at some of these characters. So again, this is a rumor, and we can't say it for sure, but it is a very exciting rumor because Yelena has become one of my favorite female Marvel characters, just Marvel characters in general. I've gotten into reading her comics more because of how good she's been in the MCU, and definitely been definitely in my top 3 to 5 of new MCU characters introduced after Endgame. And Florence Pugh is also just one of my favorite actresses out there right now. So seeing her in anything, and specifically in this role, is super exciting. And yeah, again, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about who she could bring in with her in this conflict, whether it's the Thunderbolts, whether it's Kate Bishop, whether it's like whether we see the Morgan crew in this, besides some Punisher, like whether Daredevil comes in. Like, there's so many possibilities here, and it's clear that this movie won't be like the big street level crossover because we don't think Kingpin's going to be in this. We don't think Daredevil's going to be in this. We don't think Bullseye's going to be in this. We don't think like Echo's going to be in this. But it is interesting to see how this could set the stage for a street level huge event like a Devil's Reign crossover post Secret Wars, 2028, 2029. Getting ahead of myself, and I'm just saying them bringing in another street level based character that is based in New York right now into this movie shows us that this is going to be a very grounded story and is going to set the stage for future street level conflicts or future street level projects. So that is exciting. This whole rumor is very exciting. I really hope that it does get, keep an eye on my Twitter, keep an eye on the Marvel accounts that you follow over the next couple days to see if we can confirm this rumor for sure. But for right now, I'm going to get excited about it because this is such exciting news to hear that Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova might be in this movie. So that's the first rumor. And the second rumor is Tramell Tillman being cast in Brand New Day officially in an undisclosed role. First off, as a fan of Severance and as a fan of Tramell Tillman, as someone who became an instant fan of Tramell Tillman after watching Severance, he was by far my favorite character. He's by far my favorite character in that show. And then seeing him in Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning in a very small role, but still, he like stole the show in the few scenes that he had. So he's an actor that is very up and coming right now, and somebody that I'm really starting to enjoy throughout the last couple of years of his career. So seeing him in this movie is really exciting, and it begs the question of, similar to Yelena being in this movie, how big will his role be and who might he be playing? Again, it's really hard to theorize because we do not know a lot of things about this movie. We don't know if he's going to be playing a villain. We don't know if he's going to be playing an ally to Peter, an ally to Spider-Man, a villain to Spider-Man. Like, we don't know the answers to those questions yet. So I'm gonna not go super in depth about theorizing because like it's just gonna be being vague and not sure about anything for no reason, and theorizing we don't really know a lot. But the first two names that came to my mind when I thought of this, and the reason these two names came to mind because of his looks, his age, and where they're going with this movie and where we think they're going with this movie, and the fact that he is a very young and I mean he's 40 years old, so I shouldn't say young and up and coming, but he is an up and coming actor right now because he has kind of just come on the scene with Severance. And I think that with that said, this seems like a guy that they've been interested to cast in the MCU for a while. I mean, there were rumors last year that he might be the recasted version of Kang once Kang Dynasty was kind of still on the board, or we thought we might see the Kangs again in these next two Avengers movies, which doesn't seem as likely anymore. But there was rumors that he would take over that role from Jonathan Majors after he got fired. There's some rumors about them wanting him for another roles. Like, he's probably somebody that Marvel have looked at for a while. So I think this role has to be something that is a big role, maybe not in this movie specifically, but a big name and a character that's going to be recurring for multiple films, definitely in Tom Holland's next Spider-Man trilogy in Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6. So with that said, and I also think that Tramell as an actor gives off pretty big villain vibes. He's not like a straight up villain in Severance, and obviously he's not really at all Mission Impossible, but his demeanor and his kind of aura, for lack of a better word, strikes me as like someone who'd be a Spider-Man villain. And again, the two names that came to mind for me, I think one is more likely than the other. The one that's unlikely, I think, is Norman Osborn. And we have to assume that Marvel does want to do their own version of Norman Osborn sometime soon, whether it's in this movie or in Spider-Man 5 or 6, because he is just such a big Spider-Man villain. He's the most popular Spider-Man villain, and the Green Goblin slash Norman Osborn. That is the most popular Spider-Man villain, and we have to think that they will want to introduce him at some point. Obviously, it's hard to overshadow Willem Dafoe. It's hard to not get overshadowed by Willem Dafoe, but you can't have the mentality. So that was the first one that came to my mind, and that would just be amazing. That'd be really, really amazing casting. He can totally pull it off. He totally has the acting chops. And yeah, I have nothing more to say besides I would love that casting. But I do think it's more unlikely just based on the fact that like they may want to go like an A-lister for that, like a much more popular actor, as talented as Tramell is and how good he is right now in the industry. They might want to go for a bigger name for Norman Osborn. So I'm not gonna commit to that theory yet, but that's a possibility. And then I think what the more likely option is a name that we have heard that is going to be in this movie, again from Daniel RPK, who has said, and also I think Alex Perez from Cosmic Circus said this as well, is Tombstone. And he is obviously, we don't know if he's going to have a big villain role in this movie or a small villain role in this movie, or he's going to be like, we don't know what his size of the Tombstone's role would be, but we have heard from many sources that Tombstone will be a villain in this movie, and I do think that that is another role that came right to my head when I thought of Trammell getting a role in this movie because I think just generally, if we're looking, I'm kind of just limiting it to villain roles right now because I don't know what kind of like allies to Peter are kind of left in this story that Trammell could fit into, and also like that as a role would probably not be as large as I think an actor of Trammell is capable of. So that's why I'm kind of not choosing that side of it and things, and I'm choosing the villain side because Tombstone I think is somebody that Trammell could play off really well. Maybe that's just my personal wishful thinking, but with us knowing that he's going to be in this movie and all the other villains we know that are going to be in this movie from rumors are Scorpion, which is already played by Michael Mando, and it's Tombstone, Boomerang, Tarantula, and a villain that I've never heard of named Ramrod. Those are the four. Those four, I think I said four, were the villains that Daniel RPK said are going to be in this movie, and a lot of other reliable sources have backed that up. So that's what we can assume. Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot when I was announcing the cast list that Liza Cologne Zayas will also be in this movie. That's completely my bad. Just came to my head. My bad. Didn't forget about her. My family from the Bear. Didn't forget about that. But anyway, those are the villains that we have heard are going to be in this movie and maybe like an opening montage kind of thing. Which is why I somewhat doubt that Trammell will be part of that. Although he could appear for like 5 minutes and then be like a larger villain for Pierre and maybe some other street level characters later on, and maybe be like a hired gun by Fisk. That's obviously always possible, but that is another one that I thought of. And then there's obviously a lot of like there might be like an obscure villain, Spider-Man villain that I'm not even going to mention because most people probably don't even know them. But I do think he'll be some kind of authority figure or some kind of, villainous figure, like someone who is either pulling the strings behind the scenes, like kind of like a suit that's pulling the strings behind the scenes, because that's kind of how he is in Severance. Or just a straight up villain, wearing a villainous suit and fighting Peter at some point in this movie. Um, Regardless of what it is, he's going to crush it because he's an amazing actor, and I think he is going to be on the road to stardom in the next 5 to 10 years, and that's why Marvel is scooping him up right now. There's always a chance this role is a smaller role than I'm expecting, but I just think with the fact that they've already looked at him for a big role in the past, and now they're casting him in a Spider-Man movie, and they know he's an upcoming actor right now, and he's about to maybe win an award at the Emmys in a month. Like, I just personally find it hard to believe that he will not have a role that is, on the same level as like Michael Mando's Scorpion or Sadie Fink's character, whoever she is. So yeah, I just kind of find that hard to believe. We'll see. Again, this is a lot of rumors here, and the Trammell is in the movie no matter what. We just don't know what his role is. But the rest of it, the things that I'm kind of connecting dots is rumors, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. But still, I do think him being in this movie is very exciting news and it opens up a lot of possibilities to who he could play. And I do hope that I assume we won't hear who he's going to play for a while, but I do hope we do and we're able to connect more dots once we hear who he is actually playing. There's a lot of possibilities. I just personally hope, and I said the same thing when Sadie Sink was cast, I just personally hope that it is a big role and is a recurring role that we go over multiple projects because with Sadie and Trammell, they're two actors that I really like right now, and I hope that it's not just like a one-off role, kind of like Giancarlo Esposito was in Brave New World. I'm not even saying that's a one-off role, but it was for a man of his talents and a guy that I love so much from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and The Boys, like all that kind of stuff. It was pretty disappointing to see him kind of have that small role in Brave New World. Maybe he'll show up again, but it won't be any huge villainous role. I hope that with Tramell Tillman, it is something where he is an upcoming actor and they invest in him and they want him to appear in many projects to come. that is my hope. Who knows, but I really do hope that personally. So yeah, now I can go back through the cast fully now that I've said these two names. So I'm gonna just say them in order of what kind of they've been announced, which is Tom Holland, Sadie Sink, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, Michael Mando, Mark Ruffalo, John Bernthal, now Florence Pugh, and Tramell Tillman. Like that's what make dude. I've been pretty skeptical of this movie just because I love Tom Holland. I trust him. I love Destin Dale Cretton. Shang-Chi was amazing. I trust those two, but just with all the rumors we've been hearing about this movie and like how things have changed so much, there's been so many rewrites and stuff, and also I did a video about this a while ago, but I just don't get the Hulk thing. Like the Hulk thing just makes no sense to me why he is included in this movie. And the idea that we could take away from the Spider-Man story to focus on a plot line about Savage Hulk coming back, like I'm sorry, that just does not appeal to me. It does not make any sense to me. So I've had my doubts about this movie. I'll just be honest about that. But when I look at the cast and I see like Tom Holland, Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Tramell Tillman, John Bernthal, even Michael Mando, like I see this cast and it's so many actors that I love so much right now, and like there's so much they appeal, and even Liza to an extent coming from the Bear, like um they're actors that I love so much right now, and I love to see them in anything they're in, especially if it's a Marvel project. So again, with all the concerns that I do have about this movie and I've had about this movie in the past, most of the stuff that we have heard that's official so far is positive. And just seeing those actors all together in one movie and seeing again some of these characters like Elena and Punisher. Imagine Punisher and Elena interacting. Like that's just something like as a nerdy comic book fan, that's just something that I would never thought I would see on the big screen. And the possibility that we could see it, in a movie next year with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like that is just a beautiful thing. Again, that's what the MCU should be about, is seeing these characters, these kind of oddballs cross over, and that's what we're seeing hopefully with this movie. So again, with Florence Pugh and Tramell Tillman, it does seem like they will both be in this movie, and it does seem that they will hopefully have supporting roles and not just cameo roles or smaller roles that will kind of just be forgetful. That is my hope, and that is what I think based on kind of my own intuition and what we have seen from the rumor mill so far. Yeah, is there anything else I need to say? This is going to be a shorter episode because it's just an emergency episode. And I'm kind of just throwing I this been reading through rumors for the last couple minutes, last couple hours, just throwing the camera, talking completely off rip. If I've been all over the place, that's my bad. But yeah, hopefully we get some clarity on some things about this movie coming up soon. We still don't know who Sadie Sink is playing. Gwen Stacy, please. We don't know what Tramell's role is. We don't know if Florence is in it officially. We don't know who the main villain is. Apparently, Michael Mando's Scorpion is not the main villain. Apparently, Kingpin is not in this. Again, we don't know if Tramell's playing a main villain or not. That would make sense. Is that this whole time we've been waiting for the main villain to be announced, and now he's being announced. Maybe he's playing a villain. That could make sense, but I don't know that. So I do hope that we hear more. Again, Marvel doesn't owe it to us to tell me this. Like I'm saying I want it, but that doesn't mean I need it. Like I'd be perfectly fine. It'd be frustrating, but I'd be perfectly fine if we went into the first trailer not knowing a lot, because I do like being surprised by not only the movie on the big screen, but also when we go into the first teaser and the full trailer. I do like being surprised, so that would be fine by me. But it would be nice to get some clarity and kind of be able to connect a little bit of dots about this movie and where Elena fits in and where Tramell Tillman's character fits in and who Sadie Sink is playing and how she fits in. We just don't know right now. So again, the main positive of this is that we learned today that we were potentially getting two amazing young up and coming actors in this movie that is going to, potentially create some amazing interactions not only between actors but characters that have been very popular, whether in other media or in the Marvel Cinematic Universe specifically. So that is very exciting. And again, if there's any updates, I don't know if I'll hop on here again unless it's like an official casting news. Like if Yelena gets confirmed, I'll tweet about it. But I'm not gonna hop on here and just say the same thing as again because she's been confirmed. But again, I would not be surprised if we see her confirmed either today's Wednesday, either Thursday or Friday, or next week we actually see her officially confirmed for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think she's wrapped up filming for Doomsday already, so she'd probably be able to move over. That's another thing is that I'm not gonna get too long in this, but another thing is that most of the cast members from the Chairs announcement for Avengers Doomsday, it's been said that they've been rumored to be finished filming or at least almost done filming their parts of the movie. So that's like the main leads like RDJ and Anthony Mackie and um Tom Hiddleston, like some of those guys, we don't know if they've like Tom Hiddleston, we don't know if he started filming. But all the other ones, like we think like the new Avengers and the Fantastic Four, it's been rumored they're close or have already finished filming. So we might be expecting to see more trades announcements for the remaining cast of Avengers Doomsday in the upcoming weeks and the next month. Because obviously last week and the end of last week we got Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds confirmed to be in the movie. I didn't hop on here and talk about this because it was a busy weekend, but that's obviously very exciting. And with that, we could get more castings for this movie later on in the week. And I think I don't I'm not gonna say I think we do, but I hope we do because again, if that first batch of the cast has mostly finished filming, we need somebody else for the second half of filming because I mean this movie might stay in production until September or still October, November, December. So we still have time for some of our other favorite heroes to appear, whether it's the Young Avengers characters or Doctor Strange or Spider-Man or uh Clea, like I had said, Doctor Strange. Who else? Wolverine, like the whole Deadpool gang, the TVA gang, like Sylvie and Mobius, like these kind of people that we kind of expected to see in the first announcement. Maybe we'll either get a second announcement from Marvel themselves or the trades, a Deadline, a Variety, Hollywood Reporter will slowly roll out the rest of the cast in the next couple weeks and months. One can only hope, and again, if there is any really breaking, new breaking news that comes out, even if it's in the next hour, I will hop back on here and post a video just about it, just talking about it for you guys to listen to. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this emergency episode. Sorry if it's been all over the place, and sorry about the mic quality. Hopefully that'll be fixed next time I record. And yeah, you will hear from me. If it's not for an emergency episode, then you will hear from me on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for our weekly episode. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you then.